Before I start introducing the project, let me just, like it's right there, touch base with your stress and anxiety. Let me ask you, whoever is sitting here, just raise your hand if you don't know the words written there, stress and anxiety. If you have never experienced it in your life. The second question, I see Priyam sitting right there. Priyam, how was your first experience as a student sitting in a job interview or perhaps like appearing for your exam? Do you recognize these words from your job interview, your college interview, or your exam?
I feel like, I mean, the whole experience of interviewing is not really all that stressful. It's just all of the, I feel like I get more uh, stressed when I'm waiting for something. I'm waiting for result when there's uncertainty. But yeah, definitely I can see. I mean, I was stressed before, starting this call a little bit because I hadn't done this in a while. So, it's a
Yeah.
very everyday thing, I suppose.
All right. Thank you for adding that. Adil, I see you there. Can you tell me the distinction between the words that are written there, stress and anxiety, even though we've all experienced it? As a professional, as an individual, can you tell me when are you stressed and when are you anxious? Like very clear distinction between the two.
Don't we all like use it interchangeably sometimes that I'm stressed, I have a lot of anxiety that's going on, but I'm sure it has different meanings to it as well. But somewhere I feel like stress is more about the pressure that you're feeling, and anxiety is the situational challenges that you face that make you anxious. I could be wrong about it.
Okay. No, we're not wrong about it. We use them very often in our everyday vocabulary, and that's where I wanted to just touch base on these very two specific things. Because just working around these two ideas and being a nervous system oriented therapist, I know that we can actually elevate well-being of the students, and that's what my project is about. That we talk about stress, we talk about anxiety. Tim spoke about stress before the call, but I would call it anxiety because he did not know what was coming, and we don't know what would be the words, because stress is when, like Adil said, it's pressure. You know exactly what's happening. You can name it, you know why it's happening, what's happening around. And anxiety is when there's uncertainty, when we don't know what's happening, we don't know what we are treading towards and what's coming. So, just the project is about helping students find an understanding of their stress and anxiety. So that's one of the goals. The second one is for them to understand when it surfaces and how it surfaces, because both, a lot of times we think that stress and anxiety are mental health topics because they are a mental experience. But trust me, stress and anxiety are first a body's experience than our minds. So, sorry, anxiety is internal, stress is external. No, both can be internal as well as external, and that's something that we actually unfold. So thank you, Bhavna, for asking those questions. So these are the things that we actually unfold through the topics that we explore during the project, that we build the distinction between two. We build the insight about when are students stressed, when are students anxious, when is it surfacing for them, and sometimes hearing from others that, okay, this is how stress showed up for me, and this is how anxiety showed up for me, and in facilitated dialogues coming together and understanding from each other that, okay, this is also one representation of stress. For example, a lot of us have shame spirals. When we make a mistake, we go into a shame spiral, like, okay, why did I do this, and all of that. A lot of times we wouldn't associate that with anxiety, but that is anxiety showing up. And these are the things that I want to bring up to students, that these are things that are so common in our professional as well as our personal experiences, that if only we had a name for it, we would know what to work with, and hence we build resilience and tools around it. For example, if you're sitting in a job interview, I took that example at first. If you're sitting in a job interview and you have a breathwork exercise that only helps you, and you know you're engaging in that exercise, but nobody else outside knows, and you're still regulating yourself, you actually help yourself be very present in that moment and ace the interview, wouldn't that be a dream? I know I have used many of the tools that I know while trainings, that the audience is not listening to me. I'm a trainer. I'm supposed to be having the room in charge and, a lot of those things. And I am tapping with my foot, and I'm bringing myself back to the present moment and regulating my stress and anxiety. And these are little things that we can teach students, learners, as well as anybody who signs up for this course, so that we manage and regulate ourselves well. A few things to get from this project and why they matter. I would leave the why they matter to everybody from their own personal experience, because we know at this moment that mental health matters. So a few skills to learn are self-awareness, resilience. Resilience is about not saying that I don't want to feel stressed, because a lot of times that's what we end up hearing, that I don't want to feel stressed about it. I don't want to feel anxious anymore. But the truth is that stress and anxiety will surface. The project introduces them to stress and anxiety as their friends through the nervous system approach, because if we did not have stress and anxiety, we wouldn't be sitting here. So it's about letting them know that you need stress and anxiety to survive. They are our friends, but how do you build resilience when they show up in your system? It's about using mindfulness based activities and techniques to bring them and center them in the present moment. It's about being able to communicate what's really happening within and outside. It's about problem solving, which means having tools and insight as to what to do when they show up and I'm not able to regulate. It's about having emotional intelligence that's built through a lot of emotional awareness, empathy for self, resilience tools, etc. And yeah, empathy for each other, because that's a result and skill of having a group discussions around having a group discussion around this topic, so that they know that it's showing up for others as well. So the week one is divided into understanding stress and anxiety, like what really it means to be stressed and anxious. Um, I have facilitated dialogue each week, which means that we will be coming together as a peer community, talking about it outside of doing the curriculum in their own spaces. The second one is naming our triggers, things that are stressful for us versus things that can trigger our anxiety. These are two completely different things. And for them to expand their awareness about how stress and anxiety are showing up in their mind and their bodies. The third one is identifying the impact of stress and anxiety. So how does it show up for you in the work that you're doing? How does it show up for you while you're studying? What do you really do about it? And I put in the concept of ikigai, which is a it's a Japanese concept of exploring what brings you meaning and purpose. So just, finding your ikigai in this space, so that you can identify where is it that you need to be working towards, and what's that gap that if filled can actually fulfill your needs and hence promote your well-being at large. And the last one is goal setting for personal well-being. This is about program closure. It's about finding community support and how can it continue to be a nurturing space for them, and devising personal vision boards that help them understand how do they want to be taking their personal well-being journeys forward. The final outcomes of the project are that they will be, by the end of the 4 weeks, able to understand what stress and anxiety is and how it presents itself in their minds and body. They will have a toolkit to navigate it when it shows up. They will be able to touch base with their emotional symptoms, physical symptoms, cognitive symptoms. Cognitive symptoms are the kind of thoughts that we end up having when we are stressed and anxious, um, without fear. So that's something that is necessary, that we're able to touch base and sit with our stress and anxiety without fear. And it will all be done with research-backed methods. And the fourth outcome of this, hopefully, is to find a peer-supported community that knows what they mean when they talk about a certain thing or why it matters to them, and also find a space for themselves to lean in for psychosocial support with each other. And the good part about all of this is that it's all delivered as well as being implemented in facilitation of a therapist. So even if something were to show up, they know it's a safe space, and it's for them to explore and even continue exploring further and after in their own personal spaces.